every human wants to be appreciated. Everyone at work wants to be appreciated. And, you know, for the first couple of years, I felt at home. And, you know, North London has become my home. But yeah, as I said, like, everyone just wants to be seen. And I felt that. So I was going out into this unknown, but there was just something in my gut that was telling me, yes, do this. It's the walk from the halfway line to the penalty spot. Because if you don't control your thoughts, your head could be going anywhere. It feels like a lifetime. So that's the most nerve-wracking point for me. Once the ball is down, you are in the zone and your only focus is hitting the back of the net.
Hello and welcome to another episode of PUMA's brand new podcast, Go Wild. A show where we delve into the life of our legends in sport and in culture. We unpack what it is about their careers that make them who they are, and hopefully we discover a little bit of their wild side. My name is Colin Jackson and I'm the host today, and I am so excited to be speaking to Rosella Ayane. Beautiful football player. I've been watching your skills.
Have you?
I have.
On YouTube?
Yeah. I was going to say I'm of that age, but I'm kind of not. But I am. Rosella plays for Tottenham Hotspur and the Moroccan national team and is a fearless forward. UK-born Rosella Ayane has proven herself a creative, dynamic force on the pitch and an inspiring leader off it. She's also helping to shift conversation around mental health and women's sport in the Middle East, empowering others to be bold and true to their authentic self. We are doing a podcast. Have you ever done a podcast before?
This is my first podcast. So you are the first person to be on a podcast with me.
How did you actually get into the sport?
Well, it's a funny story because I think I really got into it through, obviously, my parents. And I think the first time that I had a proper setup of football and what it's actually like, rather than just playing in the street outside with my neighbours, was one summer my mum and dad wanted me out of the house, nowhere in sight. They don't want me anywhere near them. They don't want to be responsible for me for the summer holidays. So my mum saw a clip in the newspaper saying, like, a summer camp for kids to come and learn and enjoy football. So obviously mum wanting me out of the house and not having responsibility of me sent me to this football camp in the summer for I think it was 6 weeks. From there was a scout from Reading FC and it all kind of took off from there really. So mum just wanting me out of the house kind of led to where I am now.
So did you kick around the football as a kid anyway?
I think so. I think the early stories of when I've asked my mum what was I like, I was always kicking the ball against the dishwasher. And she was like, can you stop it? And we had a small kitchen. So it's not like it's a big kitchen where there's plenty of space to be playing football. It's probably like 3x3 or 4x4 kitchen, tiny little thing. And I'm whacking the ball against the dishwasher. And she told me another story of my cousin came from, I think it was from Scotland. One of my cousins came down.
Yeah.
Apparently I stuck her in goal, didn't give her a choice.
Yeah.
And was just walloping the ball at her every time. And Rosella was like, can you give her a go? I was like, no.
No. I'm the attacker.
I am scoring the goals.
Are you good for both feet? I always ask people that who are attackers. Are you good on both feet?
I'm not one to big myself up, really.
You can big yourself up in front of me. It's all right.
I think so.
I'd
like to think so, yeah. I'd like to think that's one thing that I do have, is that I can play off both feet. And I'm grateful for that because it helps a lot. You don't have to think, I can just bring the ball down. I can cross, I can shoot. I don't have to really think about then bringing it onto my stronger foot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm culturally, right, Jamaican, born in Britain, so first generation Britain. You're kind of in a similar scenario in that sense. I ran for Britain as a youth, stayed there. I did have the opportunities to go to Jamaica and represent then. When you had your opportunity as well, you decided to represent Morocco.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult choice?
I mean, you'd probably understand. Like, I think it's hard in terms of, I was born in England. I played football in England all growing up. But there was something inside of me that connected me with my dad and Morocco. You know, my dad is Moroccan. Morocco is such a passionate country when it comes to football. And it was a point in my career where I wanted to play international football. I wanted to be in major tournaments, and I think it was a scary choice to make because it was very unknown. I'd never been out in Morocco in terms of the structure or how they play football. I didn't know any of the girls. Like, I'd gone through this program from 14 to 22 of knowing everyone that came through the England structure. So I was going out into this unknown, but there was just something in my gut that was telling me, yes, do this. And, you know, I had the opportunity 2 or 3 years before to go and represent Morocco, but I was like, it doesn't feel right. It didn't feel right in that moment. But then when they called up 2 or 3 years later, I was like, yes, now's the time. It feels right. I was excited. It like lit something in me, which I didn't really have when I was thinking about other things.
Was any resentment in England from the English camp, you feel? Were people looking you going, I wish I had those kind of choices. I got to kind of stay here.
I mean, I have heard some players who have just one nationality in them always feel a type, not jealousy, that's probably the wrong word, but they just think, you're so lucky that you have something else in you.
It's the sense of being luck. It's fortune in that sense.
Yeah, to like represent, you know, your other half or represent something that means something to you and, you know, have the opportunities that I have.
Yeah. Did you go back quite a bit as a child to Morocco to understand a little bit of the culture?
I do try to go to Morocco as much as I can. I try to bring like my loved ones out there, my friends, my family always come with me, and I suppose I try to go there as much as I can, and that makes me feel a lot more connected to it as well, of course.
Now, I've got to say, keeping on that footballish side of thing, Rob, you scored the penalty that sent Morocco into the Women's World Cup, becoming the first ever Arab women's team to qualify.
Yeah.
I can see you've got that big smile on your face.
Yeah.
That must have been really amazing.
I think that's probably up there with one of the best moments I've had in football.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I didn't know it was the winning penalty. I did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I think I was just so, you know, when you're so focused on a moment that everything else goes out of the window. So I'm like, I have to score. Then obviously 10 seconds later, I remember, this is the winning one.
Yeah.
This is the penalty that's sending us through. So, yeah, when I think back of that moment, it brings a smile to my face. I was just like...
Are you completely numb in that circumstance then? Because as you can imagine, I've never taken a penalty under that kind of pressure, right? As you can imagine.
You've definitely been in high pressure moments.
I've kind of been in a few. I mean, I watch penalty taking on the screens, right? And I always feel like I watch people when they put the ball down, whether they're going to score or not, whether they're going to bottle it or not, in that sense. I mean, for somebody who has no clue, try and explain what that experience is like when are you more anxious like just before?
Do you know what I think the worst part is? And I think maybe a lot of footballers would say this. It's the walk from the halfway line to the penalty spot. Because if you don't control your thoughts, your head could be going anywhere. Like, it feels like forever. Yeah. That walk, it's probably, like 5 seconds. It feels like a lifetime. So that's the most nerve-wracking point for me.
Yeah.
And when I speak to my friends, I think they'd probably say the same. Once you put the ball down, everyone has their different routines. Yeah. Everyone has their way of coping with it. A lot of people do breath work. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of footballers take deep breaths before to like concentrate. But yeah, once you get into that moment, it's just zone. Once the ball is down, you are in the zone and your only focus is hitting the back of the net.
Anytime you get those little bit quivery when you run in towards the ball and you think,
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, I think I was just like, I was so focused, but I could feel the nerves of myself walking from the halfway. Because I felt like the whole of Morocco was watching.
They were.
I felt like the whole weight of Morocco and going to was on my shoulders. But I could feel that. I could really feel it in that moment. But thankfully I scored and
you responded
we're all good.
To the pressure well.
My celebration was awful because I didn't realise. I just looked confused, and then I came back to my phone and I was a meme for the whole evening. It was fun.
But
that's up there with one of the best.
And I'm looking at you here right beside me.
Yes,
Yeah, in your shirt.
that is.
You look a little bit more focused there, Mike.
Yeah, I think I'm probably figuring out where to pass the ball, where's next. But
Yeah.
that was the AFCON. I can't remember which game, but that's the tournament where I scored the penalty that sent us to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be a fond memory forever, I think.
Okay, you're talking about the penalty taking there, your nerves, your anxiety, in a sense.
Yeah.
I also know you've done a catwalk. So tell me how nervous that was, because that's completely taking you out of your comfort zone, I presume.
Completely. And it's funny because when I speak about it, I'm like, I do think that's the most nervous I've ever been. And I'm like, when I think of it, it's because it's unknown. It's something that I'd never done. And, you know, you weigh it up to another situation. You're walking out for your first World Cup game against Germany, who in women's football are one of the greats. They're the biggest. Full stadium. It's Morocco's first ever World Cup game. I'm walking out of the tunnel and I'm like focused. I'm ready. There's not really many nerves. I have that nervous excitement, you know, that feeling. But that catwalk, Paris Fashion Week, I was a wreck. If you saw me like out before we walked and did the runway, I was a ball of nerves. And I don't think I'll ever be that nervous again.
Would you do it again if they asked you to do it? Because this is Paris Fashion Week. Come on now.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. But obviously now I'm like a bit used to it. So maybe I know the feeling and what's involved, etc. But this was my first time ever being involved in anything like that.
Do you know how many people now will be scrambling to try and find your catwalk online to see you there?
I mean, I think when you look at it, I don't think I'm like that nervous.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, behind, I
A
was.
sense of calmness and elegance and grace.
I'd like to think so.
You delivered it well. You delivered it well. Talking of elegance, grace and smooth, now let's talk about some of the major bumps that you've had in your career as well. Shall I start unleashing them, or do you want to kind of just...
Let's go.
Let's talk about some of them.
Few.
Yeah, so what is it like when you're playing, you're rejected, you're moving on, you know, and you feel, oh, this is not happening with me?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You know what it's like in sport when you feel not good enough, I suppose. In a team environment, it's probably a little bit different because you have other people to pick you up. Obviously, in track, it's maybe a little bit different. But when you get rejected by one person, it's the only opinion that matters, right? It's the manager of the team. And when you feel that sense of you're not good enough, your whole world kind of crumbles. But then you have to fall back and remember that it is only one opinion. And maybe everyone else in the team doesn't agree with that opinion, but unfortunately, that opinion is the only one that matters. So it's hard. And I was young when I got released from Chelsea, and I was there, and it was all my friends, and I was loving life, and I felt like I had something special to, you know, show everyone in terms of football ability. But that all came crashing down when I got released, and that's just part and parcel of football, I suppose. But at that age, I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I can imagine that sense of rejection when you're young, because you haven't got world experience to be able to put it in perspective, to genuine perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like when you started to be all of a sudden back in a team environment where you're being appreciated?
It felt good. Yeah, it felt good. Like every human wants to be appreciated. Everyone at work wants to be appreciated. And, you know, for the first couple of years, I felt at home. And, you know, North London has become my home. Tottenham has become my home. Been there for 6 years, which in football world is quite a long time to be in one place. Yeah. But yeah, as I said, like everyone just wants to be seen, you know, and I felt that.
Do you ever think to yourself, what an incredible role model you're being just by being you?
No, I think, you know...
I'm just telling you are.
Oh, thank you.
So I just want to say that, you know, to get around you, does it mean that you have to be a little bit more protective and precious of yourself because you are such a role model?
It's hard because when you do certain things, you then think, well, I'm a role model. I need to, you know, carry it in this way. Yeah. But I think you forget that sometimes as a footballer, and you know, in any sport, or you are a role model. I think in women's football we take that very personally, that we are role models, and it carries a lot of weight for us because we're trying to push the game to be in a better place. We're trying to leave it good for the players who are coming up. So I think when you speak to any women's footballer, they really have importance on being a role model. Everyone really feels that aspect of it, but you do forget it sometimes until you go to a game and you see all the little girls. They're just so excited to see you, and you can make their day, and now little boys as well.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I was going to say, because it's not just women you're a role model for. Women who are successful in sport are not just female role models.
Yeah.
They're across the board. They're role models.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the job is important.
Yeah, but it's amazing in track, especially because you just see the talent for what they are. And you see that they're not male or female. They're just an incredible athlete who is very good at what they do. And I think in women's football, unfortunately, we get put in a box where it's women playing football. We're doing the same thing as what the men are doing. But I think that's sometimes why we're pushing, because we are doing the exact same job. We're doing the same entertainment value. What you take it for is up to you.
Yeah.
And we use the example of tennis. Women's tennis and men's tennis is the same thing. Yeah. You just understand that there's going to be different elements to the game because one is male and one is female.
Yeah. Yeah, so the parity and exposure that you only ask for, and just let us do our thing.
Let us be. Yeah, let us be.
Yeah.
Like, if you have something negative to say, just keep it to yourself, please. Please, because we don't actually care,
If you were trying to find something that is wild about you that nobody knows, what have you got?
I think my wild side, I'm not very good, chef, so that's nothing. Would probably be the fact that I could be so laid back that I'm laying down, but I'm so focused and alert. I think that's quite maybe wild, maybe not so much, but I think that's an element of myself that I'm like, yeah. I'm like so laid back, but like I'm so alert and clued on.
Love that.
Is that wild?
Yeah,
Is that
I
wild?
love that. If you look at women's sport per se across the board, and men's sport doesn't have to be, as I already said, people could be role models either way.
Yep.
Who would you have looked up to? Who was it kind of somebody that you were potentially looked at and go, I aspire to be that great?
I suppose growing up, my role model was Steven Gerrard.
Oh, yeah.
Liverpool English legend.
Yeah.
But that's because we didn't really have much sort of exposure to female footballers. But then as it became bigger and maybe they were more in the newspapers, more on the telly, and Kelly Smith was one.
Yeah.
I saw her and bend it like Beckham, and I was just like, wow, I want to be that. She's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think growing up, I always had the Steven Gerrard shirt. The Liverpool shirt was with Gerrard on the back, or any England tournament, I'd be cheering for him. I was like a super, super fan.
I love that.
But we didn't play in the same position, and I'm not Scouse, and I don't know where it came from. Like, my family weren't really Liverpool fans, so it was a bit random, but I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Home screen, pictures on the wall.
Of Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about that as a story, that's why I kind of touched you. Do you see how you could be a role model to so many people without even knowing?
Yeah.
Because there's not a connection, as you just mentioned. There's no connection with you with Stephen, apart from you just admired his skill.
Yeah, I just thought he was very, very good at what he does.
We love that. And then it's time.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned you before about some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for these? Any superstitions that you have? 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to elaborate.
So let me give you an example now of me. When I'm doing all kind of interviews and I'm chatting with people, I always wear the bangles.
Yeah.
Because if I kind of I get inspired by them. So if you watch and I'm asking you a question, if I touch my bangle, a question comes to my head.
Okay.
I have weird superstitions like that.
Nice.
It seems to work.
Yeah.
You with that?
Yeah.
With me?
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
I'm going to elaborate. I choose to talk on this one because I did have major superstitions. Yeah. And my suitcase went missing on the way to the World Cup.
Right.
Never got it back. My whole life was in that bag, including all my superstitions, which was, this sounds a bit weird, but it's not. Same underwear for every game.
Yeah.
So sports bra, knickers, socks, exact same for every game. And I would put them on in a certain way. Socks.
Yeah, your order. Yeah,
my order. Yeah. But they are now gone and nowhere to be seen. And I kind of refuse to start off, go and buy a fresh pair and make that superstition again, because it just doesn't feel the same.
All right. Signature football trick. Yeah.
I actually don't have one. I'm not like a step over, flicks, tricks kind of girl. I'm a kick it and run. Kick it and run. I'm literally...
I just kick and run.
Yeah. It works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, straight for it.
So can I kind of then check in what I think is your trick?
Yeah.
You use both feet. You're skillful enough on both feet. That's tricky enough.
Is that a
isn't it?
trick?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll take that then.
Yeah, because I'll be looking at you. You're going, where's she going to go now with the
You
ball?
don't know.
I don't know, because she's going to use either feet.
Yeah, you don't know where I'm going to go.
You
Okay,
see?
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah. Both footed.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
my trick. Thank you.
I give you that one. Right, no problem. Song you may put on instantly to get yourself in game mode. That could also be, you know, when you're at home, it will remind you of a great game.
That's a hard one.
I love that.
Because I do have some songs that remind me of certain moments.
Yes. Yeah.
But Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares is like my game song.
Okay.
It's heavy on the
Yeah.
ears, a lot of noise, and it really fires me up.
Get you going.
Yeah.
Okay, we get that. Okay. What's your top advice for young girls who want to be champion footballers?
Oh, my top advice. Always enjoy playing football. Never let the love of playing the game disappear. Never let that go, and you will get the best out of yourself, and you'll be the best.
And that's kind of part of that intro I said to you, isn't it? About you again empowering people to be the best versions of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's like really important.
Yeah.
I think if you don't allow someone to be the best version of themselves in terms of happy,
Holistically,
and like little things go a long way.
Yeah.
Especially in football, you know, you've got a changing room of different personalities. You're managing 24 completely different people. It's your responsibility to create that environment where they're happy, they feel seen, they feel relaxed enough to be themselves and not have to be this robot that 24 people are going to be the same, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have your player who's happy, relaxed, comfortable, feels seen. They're going to be the best version of themselves. Of course they are. Like, you know, I think it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I'm with you on that. Totally. I think it's really important to bring the whole of you, because sport is competitive enough as it is.
Yeah.
You need to be on top of every single part of your life and your game to make the magic happen. I use the word the magic to happen, you know? Yeah, it is important. If you had to sum up your approach to football in a single sentence, what would it be?
Relaxed. Be relaxed. Feel good. And focused.
I love that.
Those three. Yeah. Relaxed and feel good for sure. With a sprinkle of focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
The $1 million question. Honestly, I'm not sure. I think it's something that, you know, I'm getting old. I'm nearly 30. I am.
Stop it.
I am.
Stop it.
So hopefully football for still a little while. But the $1 million question is what's next after football, and I think that's something I'm doing my coaching badges, which is interesting. It's learning something new. You see it from the other side, which is always interesting.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see what's next.
Well, I can assure you there's going to be an incredible path when you retire that goes in so many directions. You've got it all. Rosella,
Thank you.
it was a huge pleasure talking to you today.
And you, thanks for having me.
Real pleasure.